go out and do the work. You just might as well stay in bookstores. And I don't suggest people not sell through bookstores. I just don't think they should look at that as their sole source of revenue.
This is Ron Pramshafer, and welcome to Publishing Basics Radio, where weekly we try to help you navigate the self-publishing minefield. Brian, last week we had the queen of cold calling on the show, and I sort of think of you as the king of the non-bookstore sales. Is that a fair description?
Thank you very much.
All right, now I got to ask you one dumb question. What exactly is a non-bookstore sale?
That's not a dumb question at all, Ron. It's something, it's obviously the initial reaction is everything outside of a bookstore, but it's divided into three different segments, and you have opportunities that you sell through a distributor, and there are returns. You have sales to corporations and associations and schools and the government, and you have sales to niche markets also. So somewhere between $28 and $32 billion last year. So that puts non-bookstore markets at about $16 to $18 billion. The idea is to categorize each of these opportunities for each particular title.
Wow. So why do you think the average, I deal with a lot of authors, why do you think the average author is not aware of this market? Everybody wants to go to the bookstore.
That's exactly right. When I started out in 1990, I thought that's the only way to sell books. So I started selling them to bookstores and fought the returns and the high distribution discounts and the long payment periods. And finally it hit me, there's got to be a better way to do it. But too many people just assume that once they get into the bookstores, that their job is over, and that once the distribution is set up, that they can sit back and collect royalties. And it's just not the way it works.
Okay, yeah, because it's funny. I did a little exercise for myself this afternoon. I did a Google search. Google search under bookstores, you get 9,820,000 listings. Google search under non-bookstores or non-bookstore booksellers,
yep,
which seems like a good keyword phrase, 481.
Wow.
They're hidden. For something that's that big of a market, they're sort of hidden, so it's easier. It seems like an easier target to hit a book. I've got a book. Where else you sell it? You sell in a bookstore.
Well, if you look at the description of flower shops or camera shops or car washes or corporations, there are 13 million corporations. If you look at associations, there are 11,000 of those. So if you can really key in on one particular segment, then you can find lots of opportunities. If you have a book on dieting, you may sell it to health food stores or to doctors' offices or to parents' groups or to children's associations. So you really need to organize your approach, and then once you do that, then the opportunities multiply enormously.
Right. So if I'm publishing a book on how to play golf.
Yep.
Okay, chances are my non-bookstore market would include...
We did a book on business-to-business golfing, and we sold that to the National PGA, the state PGAs, to golf pro shops, to book clubs, golfer book clubs, to magazines who offered it as a premium for when someone signed up for a new subscription to Golf Magazine, they got a free copy of the book. So you really have to organize your marketing approach, and then the opportunities just, again, unfold.
Can you sell fiction in this
sure.
manner?
It's not nearly as easy, but certainly you can. You can look at it. There are book clubs that sell fiction, obviously. You can go to the Romance Writers Association, the Mystery Writers Association, the Horror Writers Association. If you have a book about writing those genre, you can go to that. But if you can sell it to book clubs, to catalogs, to a lot of corporations will buy fiction to use as a gift, and they don't want the top 10 fiction that you find on the bestseller list because everybody has those already. So looking for something particularly that's associated with their product. So when you're writing a fiction book, you may want to use a brand name instead of a generic name for a product and go to that company to see if they'll buy it.
Okay, now I was reading, you've published a book, your most recent book, I believe, called Beyond the Bookstore.
That's correct.
It's really, really good. I recommend it to all our listeners here. But in the book, you say something that publishers should stop selling their books.
That's right.
What do you mean by that?
People go out and sell books, and you shouldn't do that. What you need to do, particularly in non-bookstore markets, is you're selling the content. You're selling what the information in your books will do. I wrote a series of job search books. I didn't sell the books. I sold the information in those, the information how to get a job. And that opened up new opportunities. I had a video program called The Art of Interviewing, based on the content. I set it up in booklets instead of a book because colleges prefer to buy it in booklet form. So if you stress the information in your book, the content, and that's what you want to sell, you're much more likely to increase your revenue.
Okay, but where do I start? See, I always have a little bit of trouble. I just got all pumped up by Wendy Weiss, and she's going to have me picking up the telephone, making cold calls. I don't know who to call.
That's a great question. Break it down in 3 sections. The first is special distribution. Here you have to go through a distributor to get to the discount stores like Walmart or Target or the Costco's or to airport stores or to libraries. So you have to go to a wholesaler or to a distributor. This may be AMS or Anderson or Baker & Taylor for libraries. The second segment is what I call commercial sales. That would be corporations, associations, schools, the military, government organizations. And the third would be niche markets. Here they're the retail shops that are, or the specific markets that are best for your particular title. These could be the Wilson-Sonoma for a book on cooking or on glassware, or a gift shop, or a book club, or a catalog. So if you can segment the opportunity in those 3 particular areas, then it's much easier to find the potential prospects for your book. So I guess the first step should be to define the content among those 3 particular segments.
I used to travel around a lot as a salesman.
Okay.
There's a bookstore in every airport. You mentioned airport stores.
Right.
Now you go in there, clerk doesn't do the buying. I'm like, how do you get past that part? Okay, we all know we want to sell in the airport store.
One, you could come to me.
Okay.
Two, you could go to Google, as you did before. You go to an airport store, and you see the Hudson News, or you see W.H. Smith or Parody stores.
And that's the name that's on the store in the airport itself.
Exactly right. That's correct. So then you do a Google search on that, and that's going to show the home office. And you contact them, and they're going to say, well, here's my distributor. Go to Bookazine or go to Anderson News or News Group and contact them. So the 2 ways you can approach it, Ron, you can go to the buyer of the store and show them the book that's perfect for the airport stores, and then they'll ask the distributor to purchase it from you. Or you go to the distributor first and have them sell it to the airport stores as a regular bookstore salesperson would. They'll do the selling for you. So it depends. If you have the time to do the work yourself, you can do it. If you don't have the time, then you have to get a distributor to do it for you. But then you're paying your 70% again. So you're losing 65 to 70% to these people.
Okay,
because you also have returns in that area too.
Because the distributor, I've got actually them scheduled to all speak on the program here. Because I'm a little confused with distributors too. I mean, they've got a lot of salesmen. Do they actually go out and make sales calls? Does anybody sell your book? I mean, you're saying sell the content. Wendy, me, or whatever. I'm saying sell the book. All I am is this author with this garage full of books. Yeah. I want to see him sell. There
are some distributors such as Midpoint and Biblio and PGW. They have the internal salespeople that will actually call on some non-bookstore markets. They'll call on airport stores. They'll call on discount stores. They won't call on the corporations and associations where the large sales could be. Where they have a sales force actually calling on some of these non-bookstore markets. So your distributor may also already be doing that for you.
Okay. Now, how about catalogs? I've noticed more and more catalogs, and I get a slew of them every year. More and more of them have, like, book sections or books mixed within the catalog.
Sure. They do, and particularly between now and the end of the year, they'd be inundated with catalogs. And if you can get in some of these, there are a couple of ways to get in those, Ron. One, as a product that they actually sell. And the other, if you have and these are very specific. There'd be golf catalogs that sell golf books, or LL Bean, something that has to do with their footwear or their outdoor products. And you can get a book that goes along with that. But if you have a coffee table book, go to a furniture catalog and have your book on display when they show the showrooms, to show the furniture all set up, and have your book on the coffee table. Then people will be calling in and ordering it. And so there are 2 ways to get in. One is as a prop, so to speak, and one just having them resell your book. And there are so many catalogs. There are tens of thousands of catalogs, and you can a quick search on Google or going to the catalog of catalogs, which I think is a Gale directory. You can come up with catalogs that would be specific for your particular topic, and then once you get in those, the sales can be excellent.
Okay, now how about you? You'd mentioned the PXs earlier, I believe, or the armed forces.
Yeah,
they buy a lot of books.
They do, and you have to look at the military as a different kind of a market. You can sell to the PXs. You can sell on shipboard. They don't carry a lot of books on board ship, but they have a lot of catalogs on board ship, and that's another opportunity for fiction there, particularly where the people can order and the books are delivered almost the next day to the ship. The books and other products they sell. But if you look at the military base, And they have programs. If you have a book on how children can cope with frequent moves, or how the spouse of the service people can move a business from place to place when the service person is transferred, if you have books on those topics, you can sell a lot of books to the military because they're looking. I sold job search books to the military. Ron. People get out of the service and they need to find how to get a job, and so they bought a lot of my job search books.
Okay, and again, do you go down to the local? I live pretty close to West Point. Do I go up and knock on the door? Or is there? No,
you can do that, but we go to AAFES online. Or that's Army Air Force Exchange Service, and they have online services. There are distributors who will go to the exchanges and go to the bases. You can go. There's another site for the Coast Guard, for the Navy, for the Marines. That would be the best way I would recommend starting out. And then you can go to the Department of Defense. The Department of Defense runs, I think, about 300 schools nationwide, but they also buy for the bases too. So find out who the buyer is in the Department of Defense for your particular topic, and then go to them.
All right. Now, I've been in this business a lot of years, and my head's sort of spinning thinking about all these different, what way do I go? I can see thinking about this all day long. At the end of the day, I haven't done nothing. Pretty early on, you were developing something you'd called like a book marketing map.
Right.
That idea was that you were, for a fee, of course, you were going to give me basically a list of leads.
That's correct, and I did that. That was a Word document. We would do a custom search on a particular title, and come up with all the potential buyers for that.
And how did that work out?
It worked out well. People worked it quickly because it tended to go out of date fairly soon. But if it wasn't worked within 3 or 4 months, the attrition rate started to drop off. That's why we went to an electronic web-based version where we update that regularly, almost constantly. We're always updating it, adding new names, new listings, and taking out old listings. So the relevancy is related directly to at least on those old book market maps, the speed with which you actually implemented them. So if you get the information and jump on it and make the calls and make the contacts, it's a great product.
Okay, but they say it's as good as like a Google search or whatever. I mean, you did the searching for people.
You got 9 million hits on bookstores. So what we do is if you put in, instead of doing a search on businesses and come up with there are 13 million businesses, so instead of going through all those, we do that for you. We can cull those out that are particularly appropriate for your particular title, and then provide you with the name of the buyer, the phone number, the email address, the URL for that lead. So we do all the searching for you. And okay.
So you still have a service like this?
We do. It's electronic. It's a web-based service. Yes, we do. Actually, we do it through our Bowker. Bowker does we can do it 2 ways. Bowker can do the contacting for you, or I can provide the list to you, and you can, if you want to do the contacting yourself. So it can be done either way.
Oh, that's pretty neat. So they're like the Glengarry leads, right? These are all good leads.
Oh, yeah.
I get on the phone. I just took Wendy Weiss's course last week or whatever. I get on the phone and make calls, and Joe Smith is the buyer. Joe Smith is really the buyer, and he's still there.
That's correct. And if Joe Smith is gone, we'll find that information out and make that correction as soon as we can. And we do that in real time. So next time you go to that lead, the change has been made. Again, we can do that. We can set that up so if you, as the author publisher, want to do that yourself, we can do it for you. Or if you have a day job and you don't have the time to do that, we can have Bowker do it for you.
Okay. And is this a very expensive service?
No. We read your book, come up with the segments, and customize the prospect list for you, maybe 2,000 to 5,000 leads. That's $1,750. Then to put those on the online system, it's $395 per month to have that system operating and have us update it. And you can use that to email directly from it. It keeps records. So every time you send out an email, it keeps a record. So next time you go to that prospect, it shows you what you emailed, to whom it was emailed, what the response was, if it was opened, when it was opened. And so you have that information. If you make telephone calls, it keeps records of that. It's a contact management system that's pre-populated with the names of people to call for your particular leads, and that's $395 a month for as long as you want to use it.
Now, what do you have in place? And again, I deal with a lot of different customers, a lot of different walks of life, a lot of different budgets and everything. When I send you a book, do you look at it and say, Ron, you're wasting your time, I'm not going to take your $1,700?
Oh, we take about 1 out of 10 that are submitted to us.
Okay, that's even for the do-it-yourself program.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So I sort of auditioned to give you money, for lack of a better set of words. I mean, and again, this is the toughest thing that's out there right now. are too many people with their hands out.
It's something. If you make $5 a book and it's $3.95 a month, you have to sell 80 books a month to break even. That's 1,000 books a year. And if you can't sell 80 books a month, Ron, you probably shouldn't be out there anyway.
All these different things that you've mentioned during this interview are all things that are not going to happen if you sit back and you put your book on Amazon and wait for the world to come to you.
You're right. If you don't go out and do the work, you just might as well stay in bookstores. And I don't suggest people not sell through bookstores. I just don't think they should look at that as their sole source of revenue. That could be part of it. Keep your books in bookstores, but look for your revenue and for your profits in non-bookstore markets.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Brian, thanks a lot for coming on the show today.
You're welcome, Ron. Thanks for having me.
Okay, and I'll see you soon.
Thank you.
For Publishing Basics Radio, this is Ron Crampshafer. See you next week.
This program is produced by Jack Street Media as part of the affiliate Nanocasting Network. Thanks for listening.